Hello, degenerates, scruff-tords, freaks, geeks, and basement dwellers. Welcome to Warzone. I'm Scruffy, and this is Scruffy Tales. And in this video, we're going to take a brief look at Russia's slow advance along the front line, despite this being a major summer offensive. All the shenanigans Ukraine is doing within Russia with bombing airplanes and airfields, you're going to have to watch some other video, some other channel, because we're not going to be talking about that. We're going to take a look at how Russia is slowly advancing during this major summer offensive. Okay, so here we have Andrew Perpetua's map. We're zooming in quickly here on Myrna and Pokrovsk to the south, where we have Bahatyr still contested. Russia's not managed to push in, trying to come up on the flanks. The town itself is an obstacle. They've begun pushes towards Oleksivka, since they are stuck on Bahatyr. You can see they're further west, trying to push up along the river, as expected. I said this multiple times. They will reach the river eventually. Ukraine can only slow down the progress. The important part is how much Ukraine can slow them down. So they need to push Ukraine away from Andriivka so that they can utilize this main highway as for logistical purposes. But it's slow going. Ukraine is doing the job that they need to do. The collapsing front line is less collapsing today than the other day, apparently, because, it's not a collapsing front line. Russia is advancing 300 meters per day, and for the past 1 or 2 days, not much has happened here at all. What happens when a breach like this pierces the front line is that you move in troops to contain it, so you usually can't fight back a breach once it happens. What you do is move in units surrounding the breach to contain it, and then if you have the manpower, you try and push it back. Kind of like what Russia did in Kursk, right? So maybe we're seeing the beginning of Ukraine containing this initial Russian push out of Tarasivka towards Popov Yar and Soria here. We'll see how it plays out. Moving north, not much else. Oh, I need to highlight this. This area here, Ukraine has had some successes here in the past couple of months. Nothing major, but they keep chipping away at Russian positions. First they did it here north of Bohuslavka, and then they pushed in here, and then they've slowly expanded this region here in town that they're in control of. Nothing major, but slow going, a couple of 100 meters every other week. Same thing up here. Like I said, nothing major, but important. This is actually an area where Ukraine slowly, extremely slowly, is regaining territory. Russia secures some territory up here around Topoli. First big major shift in the front line along the northern part of the Oscll River. We'll see if they can utilize momentum here to come down along the Oscll, or if Ukraine can hold the line. Now, the important thing is up here, of course, at the Kursk-Sumi border, where Russia has begun a proper push into Ukraine, into Sumi Oblast. This is on the 1st. Let's go back. You can see here, going back a couple of days, how it has progressed over the last couple of days. How far is this? Let's from here to here, you can see 6 to 8 kilometers in a couple of days. So, I mean, a respectable push by this war's standards. And we can see what Russia is doing. They're coming down the valleys, moving from town to town, utilizing the road network in each valley to advance. And, of course, the valleys is also where you have vegetation. Out on the fields, you have no cover, so they're advancing down the valleys. Now, I think we should expect Russia to push down to these towns and villages here. Kindrativka, another Andriivka. There's like 20 Andriivka, 20 Mykolaivka, 20 whatever. Each town name is, exists times 20 all across Ukraine. Very confusing. Anyway, so Andriivka, Oleksivka. These towns is what we can expect Russia to reach initially. The interesting part is, will they push on beyond these towns? And if they do, that means they have to cross all of these open fields, as you can see here, before reaching the next cluster of towns that are located in valleys and in these large forested areas. Down here is where Ukraine can well and truly defend territory. They have had time to build up defensives, to pre-range, pre-sight every piece of terrain for artillery, drone strikes, and airstrikes. And this is where Russian advances will be funneled into, as you can see here, windbreaks or these valleys. This valley does appear to be extremely interesting if Russia wants to continue south. And as you can see here, wide open spaces. South of these villages is where Ukraine can inflict a lot of casualties on the Russians if they intend to push further south. If we head on over to the 3D map here, ISW, here you can see, if we angle a bit, you can see it here if we take a look. These towns here is what we can expect Russia to push into and secure. And then you have all the open spaces between these towns and the next line of settlements down here. So I'm expecting Russia to push into Yunakiv. This is probably going to be a difficult objective. It's a larger town. Ukraine has probably prepared a lot of defenses, but it is a bit isolated. It's difficult for Ukraine to move in supplies to Yunakivka. I mean, these towns, easy to move supplies through the woods, lots of cover road, dirt roads and what have you, dirt tracks in the roads. This is where Ukraine can easily mount defenses and supply and support those defenses. At the moment, Ukraine needs to move across these open fields to support these towns. That is difficult. So once Russia reaches these towns, that is when the real obstacles begins for the Russians. And I think this valley here will be one of the main combat areas for this push if they decide to continue southward. As you can see, it provides a lot of cover in the area. Surrounding cover is open areas, open territory. This is basically where they need to advance, and this is where Ukraine has this patch of forest that basically becomes a fortification at the end of the valley. And you also have a ridge line here that overlooks the approach coming through this valley. I mean, pre-drone warfare, you would have guys with binoculars up here. You would have anti-tank guided missiles, and you could guide artillery and airstrikes. You can launch missiles all across these fields from this ridge line. And as you saw Russians progress down this valley, you could easily call in artillery all along the way and taking them out piecemeal. So I'm suspecting that this valley, if Russia decides to continue south from Yablonivka towards Novosich, this will be a highly contested valley. And then at the end, this patch of forest here, with lots of uneven terrain, hills, and deep gullies, this is going to be one hell of a fight. I suspect that the Ukrainians have built up lots of trenches hidden and foxholes and bunkers in these woods and hills. So that is the Russian summer offensive so far. Don't be surprised that Russia continues to push into these towns here. The real interesting part will be, will Russia continue to advance south across these wide open fields where Ukraine more than likely has prepared a nasty surprise for the Russians should they try to achieve that push, if it comes at all. So yeah, front line, short and sweet. And that's it, a bit rushed, but I still think I got the point across. And well, I hope you found it interesting. I hope I'll see you in the next one. As always, go på marsch, Ukraine, and give them hell.